Hello, welcome everyone to Under the Radar MMA with me, Jay Yoder from Lindsay, California, and your co-host Juan Nunez, a Cesar Gracie black belt, calling out of Caracas, Venezuela. Juan, how's it going, man?
Everything is well. That's what this is about. I'm trying to go through MMA and pointed out a few different things that are happening at this moment. We want to talk about different fighters, different situation, especially different situation. And, I don't know how you want to start, bro.
Well, let's give it a rundown what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk, Juan's going to touch on the Charles Oliveira as a fighter and also the lightweight division, how things stack up right now. We're also going to touch bases on UFC Fight Night, Thompson versus Neal, but we're going to focus on the fight Jose Aldo versus Chito Vera, as well as Mackenzie Dern versus Vera, Jandiroba. I probably butchered that last name. Juan, if you know how to say it, let me know. But and then we'll cover some stuff on Miesha Tate going on, and then Juan's going to break down a move of the week, just a simple move for those listeners. Maybe you're training jiu-jitsu for the first time. I've trained with Juan in the past, and he'll just break down some moves for you, and maybe you could add it to your repertoire as a jiu-jitsu fighter or an MMA fighter as well. So, all right, Juan, let's start off with Charles Oliveira and the lightweight division of the UFC.
Well, first of all, Jay, thank you for the chance to handle, communicate, help to educate people on the mixed martial arts. Charles Oliveira is a top contender in the lightweight division in the UFC. He is a unique, quiet character that, he's always working on different methods of strategies. He's a top contender from Brazil. And a few weeks ago, he made his adversary tough contender as well, and Tony Ferguson. He made him look really, really like an amateur. He is not even, he wasn't even close to handle any technique. So my point on this is like Charles Oliveira is a quiet guy. So he even made a excellent game plan by taking El Cucuy down and getting jiu-jitsu control. He was avoid the mission control, the shield dog position, handle business, Anyways, if you see the fight, if you could understand the passing, the position of the hips in the lateral control was on point. You can take your time, check Oliveira, each way that he was controlling, with blocking the elbow, the hips with elbow, and with the knee blocking the other side of the hips, and transitioning north-south position. Went for a deep armbar in the first round. Well, I don't even know, man. He's a tough contender. Probably he would be the champion by the next years if everything play right. I don't know, man. That's my thoughts on it.
Juan, Charles Oliveira, black belt in jiu-jitsu. Do you know who he's under? Who he got his black belt from?
To be honest with you, I don't even know. I know different things about techniques, and I can help guys to do jiu-jitsu well. How transition in jiu-jitsu, anyways. But I don't even know his background. However, he's the guy that have more submissions in the UFC, and something very important that I noticed. A detail, it was like in his training, he doesn't even telegraph elbows, not even one elbow, and he throw from guard. He was doing damage with elbows. So he keep it, like I said, he's a quiet individual. However, he's handle a business on the side with his work. He's working right. He's a great athlete, great condition. I didn't even see any weakness, and he took Tony to the ground, and Tony's a legit wrestler with an all-American background in wrestling. So I was very impressed by Charles Oliveira.
Well, that kind of brings me to a random question for you. You're a black belt under Cesar Gracie through Jake Shields, I believe, and very traditional. Nick and Nate Diaz also trained with Cesar Gracie and got their belts through him. Correct me if I'm wrong here, but also, you got Tony Ferguson, this high level, I believe, a black belt in 10th Planet Jiu-Jitsu under Eddie Bravo, and I don't know if you're familiar with the 10th Planet system. I've been to a few sessions over there in San Francisco with Denny Provokovos. I always mess up his last name, Greek last name, but he's recently left 10th Planet, just competed on a UFC Fight Night Jiu-Jitsu card and won. But I'm curious, have you have any experience with going to 10th Planet or training against people that have done the 10th Planet system? And can you talk about the differences between traditional and this kind of new, I guess not even new anymore, but newish 10th Planet system compared to the traditional arts of jiu-jitsu?
Absolutely, man. First of all, Danny Procopos is 10 Planets, San Francisco. That's how it was until 2017. Afterwards, I came back home. I don't even know the situation. Now you are telling me that he left Eddie Bravo. I don't know. I don't know anything about it, but all I can say, like, he was a student from Eddie. You know, all the terminology that he got was from his book.
First black belt.
Yeah, definitely. First black belt. And on top of that, Eddie Bravo was a guy that was famous because he tapped out, he finished Royler Gracie, which is a brother of Hoyce and Hickson. He has a style with the deep half guard, which they're very, very good on the ground, especially from their back. Yeah, good sweeps from half guards. That legit contenders, you know. He's always evolving, always changing. But you can see Charles Oliveira, he play a little bit more traditional Brazilian style with the hips positioning. You know, that's how Cesar Gracie was teaching a little bit. You know, really good, solid mount position, solid side control, lateral control, switching. You know, staying control the entire time. Charles Oliveira. We need to do. I personally need to do a research where exactly he learned which academy, but I'm sure it has something to do either with the Gracies and somebody very close to them, you know, because that was Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu 101. I was impressed about how well Tony Ferguson defending methods, you know, thinking about I'm gonna go through, I won't quit. I really respect that because if you watch the 12 fights he won back to back to back, that was top of the line, you know. So I believe he should take some time off. I believe he needs some time off, especially after what Justin Gaethje did to him. That was a rough fight, and he got beat up standing up, and now he got beat up in jiu-jitsu. The jiu-jitsu aspect, we only can say how tough is Tony Ferguson. He took it like a man. No one can take that away from him.
Yeah, Tony Ferguson, a savage, you know, never going to give up. And then to go through that win streak and then constantly get that Khabib fight pulled away from him, 4 or 5 times. And then to come off these 2 hard losses from 2 very strong contenders for the title coming up with, Gaethje and Oliveira. So where do you think is the next move for Tony Ferguson? Where do you take some time off, but when he comes back, where does he go from here? You know, does he just get back on the track and start collecting those wins, or does he change things up a bit?
I believe his management are going to be working on it. I believe he need to do a little bit more Thai pads work. All I'm saying is hire a good Thai boxer coach and place those kicks that you do, place those techniques that you play. Make sure the distance is right. Make sure you're moving out of the way. Make sure you're blocking the kicks. Make sure you're moving around and don't be forward too much right off the gate. Just do the lateral movements and maybe set up some shots in wrestling. Maybe 1 or 2 takedowns that you really trust. At least try a few times and keep doing what your jiu-jitsu. Your jiu-jitsu always legit. Great DARS. One of the best in the games. Amazing, control in each position as well, you know, like a seatbelt grip, and then, you know, work. I don't know, man. Would it be time off? Absolutely. The walk. I don't know. I don't know too much about training, the methods that he applied beside not doing sparring, which I only realized that was a smart move until I see him fight. When he fought Edson Barbosa the first time, the only time they fought, and when he even put a beating on Anthony Pettis, that was that nice little rhythm that he caught up in the late second round, I believe. It was clean how much punch he was putting on Pettis, and great, great. I wish him the best, man. I hope whatever decision they make between him and his management, whatever is good. I like to see him win fights again, making sure the defense is there, though.
It's another thing I think about, like again, not an expert here, just a fanboy, but like as a disservice to Tony is having so many fights that go, so many wars, so many hours of footage that someone like Vera could use to train against them. When you have someone like I don't know, like a Khabib or even a Conor McGregor, most of the fights are quick and short, so there's not a lot of footage to really go by. There's a lot of mystery still, and kind of with Tony has this awkward stance, this awkward stand-up that is hard to train for, because who else moves like that? But I think after so many fights and so many rounds of footage, the opponent like Vera could really like dial in how to beat that. And it kind of reminds me of, to go a little bit old school here, Juan, is Keith Jardine. If you remember his awkward style, obviously I wouldn't compare him and Tony as like levels. I think it's hard to do that with fighters from the past, but Keith Jardine had this awkward style, but it seemed once it was figured out, it was done. It was done for him. He beat Chuck Liddell with it. And then, the other fighters seem to once they figure that awkwardness out, it seems to be a wrap. And I don't know if that's really going to happen to Tony, because Tony's so shifty and so smart in his fight IQ. But it'd be interesting to see what he does. But let's move on to Jose Aldo versus Chito Vera. What'd you think of the fight?
Well, I believe Jose Aldo outsmart Marlon Chito Vera. He showed him why he's the better fighter. He took his back in the last round, and he just stayed there. I understand Marlon was doing whatever he can to get up. He even stand up from the bottom a few times. But Aldo was smart enough to understand that all he needs to do is win the fight. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's I was really impressed with Aldo's his first off, his lead left hook, coming in just with that lead left hook, like almost like Roy Jones, used to do back in the day. But his mixing up the combinations with the body shots. But as far as the lead left hook, it seemed just to connect, and then he started throwing those body shots and really caught Chito off guard. And Chito being, I think, Jose Aldo's in great shape, but Chito probably, I would assume, a little bit better endurance. I think they're even saying that he runs, like 15 miles a day or something crazy like that. But pretty awesome to see Chito representing from Ecuador go in there. But I just think Aldo had the better game plan and just mixed it up better.
Definitely.
Yeah. Chito, I was actually surprised with his back defense, even punching from the back and actually connecting Jose Aldo. I thought it was a wrap right away, but he survived. And it's crazy that, Jose Aldo being a black belt for so long, but a killer on his feet that's only had one submission in his MMA career. It's pretty interesting. I think he had a submission.
Especially by being a Brazilian, that they're supposed to be like a Jiu-Jitsu from the beginning, very respectful. I don't know, man. Chito Vera is a legit striker, good kickboxer, but like you said, Aldo was doing the body shots. He finished Jeremy Stevens with those body shots, and he was fighting well against Peter Yan until Peter Yan picked up the pace at the end. Peter Yan is excellent contender, and I totally understand why Henry Cejudo walked away from the sport, because that would be a challenge. Nothing to take away from Henry, but I believe that the wrestling aspect, Henry got it. But this dude, he knows how to get out the bottom, and I'm sure he's working on strategies to face it. Eventually a difficult challenge that I don't even know. Maybe could be TJ Dillashaw at bantamweight, which he is also a different animal from fighting him at flyweight. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, and I think it wasn't Jose Aldo supposed to come back this year and give a strong performance and then retire. I believe he mentioned that, but it's easy to talk about retirement, another thing to actually do it for good. But it was funny. His last, kind of going back to his submission, his last submission was in 2005. It was an arm triangle against Luis de Paula and Shoot to Brazil 7. But it just shows that he's a beast stand up. But it's always impressive to me when people do the opposite of what, say, Khabib does. Khabib he has his bread and butter and he sticks to it. But at the same time, I think maybe, as a jiu-jitsu background guy who also did MMA and learned stand-up, that you kind of fall in love with the stand-up. I don't know what it is, but it's an exciting thing to really knock someone out or to feel that. But going back to the back defense of Chito Vera, I wonder, you've done no gi and gi tournaments at a high level, and you've also competed in an MMA. How much do the gloves really play a factor when, Aldo is going for that rear naked choke and Chito Vera could grab that glove? Because it's one thing to stick a thumb down into the throat. It's another thing, this big chunky glove trying to get in there.
That's an excellent question. It's also a tricky question. Gloves are supposed to be made just to protect your hands. That's the reason why people throw punches like that. According to a research, you can check, I believe Charles Sonnen was the one talking about it. It was a research in the Oregon University about how important it is to wear gloves in a fight. And the damage that you could get by a broken hand in a street fight or a bare knuckle fight, it could be quick. You break your hand quick, but with the glove, with the wraps, it helps to set up the tone and trade punches toe to toe, Mexican style, bare knuckle, covering the eyebrows and taking a few, bam, 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 and then coming back, bam, bam. That it could be either with a bigger glove, maybe like a 10-ounce glove, wraps and handle business. For practice, amazing. We will always make sure the grease is where it needs to be. And but you're asking about
Jiu-jitsu.
Yeah,
actually,
definitely.
Submitting.
It's easier without the glove, no doubt about it. That definitely is a factor, and that's why we practice with the glove. We know the challenge that we are about to be in.
Yeah, it's almost like you got to be a little more sneaky going for that rear naked choke to sneak it under. But I also think the glove could be an advantage to jiu-jitsu. Say an armbar, if you're going for the armbar and you grab that glove, it's a bigger volume to grab than just a slippery hand. You probably have more experience in that with me, but that's what I found with training with the gloves jiu-jitsu.
Back in the day, it was like that. I mean, before fighting under a commission. So probably before you and I we were even born. They had a politics issue that you don't talk through the rules and people fish hook your glove and do a tricky amber on you. You and I know that cheating, but back in the day it wasn't even cheating. It was just playing, but who is the smart ass right here, who is the smart guy, that bullshit. However, nowadays, thank God we have a commission. We're very civilized. The way how we handle business nowadays in modern time MMA. Sign a contract, you have little rules meeting. And who was very amazing talking through? Big John McCarthy. I remember when Cyborg and Gina Carano, it was a main event. For some reason, I was right on the meeting. In the meeting, shortly, Joe McCarthy stand up behind the desk with a microphone and start talking everything. And everything was so clear. He even talked the elbows situation, how you can land it, how you cannot throw elbows, and make sure the back of the head is right on point. He even talked through a little bit the front face headlock. The importance how wrestlers play the flip over a little bit, side to side to warm up, that tips to help out athletes to have a long career, even though we're doing a extreme sport, so that's the difference.
Yeah. All right. Well, and I think Chito's going to have a great, he's going to be back coming off that win against Sean O'Malley in his last performance. And then this was a great performance for him against one of the best to ever do it, Jose Aldo. But moving on, did you catch the Mackenzie Dern fight versus Vera? I'm going to mess up the last name again. Vera Jandiroba. And I don't know. Did you catch that fight, Juan?
Vera Jandiroba. She is also a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. They both are really good on the ground. However, I can see Mackenzie Dern was more anxious to play the ground game with her. Um, yeah, I was impressed how durable Mackenzie showed. I thought it was going to be closer from what it was. Mackenzie won a unanimous decision. I don't know, many if that was like that. It could be either way because the other lady was doing, I believe, more damage on the stand-up. But Mackenzie showed so much heart. She showed why she's so tough, and she's been there for. She competed in Jiu-Jitsu, sport Jiu-Jitsu. She's arguably one of the greatest of all time. In the female division. Amazing hips. She do crazy armbars. She do amazing sweeps. I challenge you, man, to research her jiu-jitsu game, especially on top. Uh, she has a few fights with some different ladies in the black belt bracket, and I'm sure she was all the time with the medal. But anyways, this last fight, I'm impressed about how durable she is, but I don't think she won, man. I would have given it a draw if I would have been a judge, but who gives a shit, man? We're not judges.
Well, I disagree. I was very impressed by her hand, especially out of the gate. She pressed her back, and she's working with Jason Perillo, who's done amazing things with fighters such as, Michael Bisping win the title. But I liked her combos. I liked how she mixed it up, just kind of like Jose Aldo. I really liked how she mixed it up. And I think she did kind of fade, especially when she took that kick and kind of got that knee that I believe broke her nose. But as far as high-level jiu-jitsu, she went for the takedowns and stuff, but couldn't really, I think, keep her down too much. But as far as researching some of her jiu-jitsu I have over the years, and her black belt, I think it was absolute against Gabby Garcia, who is just a beast of a woman, who's just a very big woman. But right off the gate, going for a leg lock, even got a sweep on her and won through advantage, I believe, her points. But that just shows the kind of jiu-jitsu she has, the high level. But to see her hands develop, especially now that she's with Jason Perillo this last full fight camp, and to see how she's going to progress with him. I mean, Jason Perillo, one of the best to teach boxing and striking, especially. So I'm excited to see Mackenzie Dern's not only just her jiu-jitsu, which is already good, but to see the development of the hands to grow with the jiu-jitsu and catch up.
I truly hope she's not in the same division that Valentina Shevchenko. I hope she is a little in a different weight class, bro.
Well, that's when she was doing 115. I'm really bad at the weight classes nowadays, but she weighed out 115. But she also looked very slim down compared to her last fights. I know she missed that fight about 7 pounds a while back, but she looks the best she's ever looked as far as being slimmed down. But yeah, if she's going against someone like that, I think the black belt's going to come out. But I don't know if she's quite ready yet, but I think she's on her way to be a contender. Man, I want to see her get that belt. Been following her for a long time.
That would be nice. I would like to see her champion one day. And I heard jiu-jitsu, like I say, is top of the line, especially her half-guard sweeps. Unfortunately, her wrestling is not her best discipline. However, her jiu-jitsu it is. Maybe she can work a little bit at imanari rolls. I don't know, man. Yeah, I'm impressed about how tough she is. I'm impressed about how durable she is. And I like her coming forward. Like she did in her last fight.
Yeah, throwing some great body kicks too, mixing it up. Although Vera was throwing a lot of kicks herself, but I don't know if you caught kind of talking about that boxing and jiu-jitsu, but missing that wrestling. A lot of times we as fans, especially myself, say that, but we don't know the actual wrestling training. But I saw the Diaz brothers promo come out today. Nate Diaz, a Quarantine 2020, or I think came out a few days ago, but I watched it this morning and it gave me goosebumps, man. Just showing their training and showing how hard they're training during this quarantine. Both Nick and Nate. You see Nick holding pads for Nate, but those are two guys who have phenomenal boxing with Richard Perez, and then Cesar Gracie, traditional black belts from way back when, just high level jiu-jitsu. And it's always been that question, they go in and box like they don't give a shit, because if they get taken down, they're good on their back. And I think that's a awesome way to be, and that's why I think kind of Mackenzie Dern's in that place. The dangers are people like GSP and Benson Henderson that have a kind of a strong wrestling. But I think those are few and far between. And I don't know. I think Mackenzie Dern is gonna just play into those hands more, because she gets taken down, right? She knows what to do down there, and her sweeps are phenomenal. But kind of asking you, the jiu-jitsu expert here, about the gloves and trying to get a submission. I'm curious about what you feel about sweeps in MMA compared to regular no-gi jiu-jitsu. Because how hard is it to sweep when you're getting punched in the face?
It all depends on the level of your adversary. Back in 2007, it was a different time. MMA was a different sport from what it is today. Back in the day, 2007, 2008, your MMA adversaries, they weren't so well versed how they are right now. But back in the day was like just one-dimensional, either wrestling or jiu-jitsu, wrestling, Muay Thai, and jiu-jitsu boxing. So we never had it like everybody, every discipline on point. It wasn't like that. So jiu-jitsu was easier to apply. I was having fun. I was a jiu-jitsu against, it could be a wrestler that throw punches, try to knock you out, but you can block, drop the arm, execute a sweep, be on top, Cesar Gracie Jiu-Jitsu 101. That was how it was. No problem. Now, Cesar was one of the few people that put it together like that. Cesar Gracie, you're talking about excellent world-class Muay Thai. You're talking about NCAA wrestling and All-American wrestling, like a single leg picking up, throwing, like a little 360 and then go to the ground. Could be like a high crotch with head outside, run the pipe. So many front headlock, warm up, and show your move. Keep it that simple.
All right, Juan. Well, moving on. I know you wanted to talk a little bit about Miesha Tate and what's going on with her, and I know you competed against her ex, I believe. But why don't you take it away on Miesha Tate?
Yeah, I competed against her current husband. It was the finals in Naga, Vegas, 2013, could be 2013 in Vegas. Anyways, it was a close match. I believe I won. It was stalling too much, avoiding, just defending, and he didn't even score a point. But referees take decision at the end of the match. So whatever it was. But anyways, we're talking about his wife, Miesha Tate, which is a professional public figure in the MMA community, very professional. She always fought under a commission, very respected. Could be California, and in the East Coast as well. But all I'm saying, like, she's open up a little bit with the situation, with the different situation on the submission on the ground, the tournament that Chael Sonnen is bringing on. She was vocal about competing, coming up at the submission on the ground against a legendary Chris Cyborg in a grappling match. And I believe Miesha has what it takes. She has an excellent head and arm choke against Conor in Strikeforce. That was at least 7 years ago. But anyway, she made it happen. She was a champion for a reason, because of her excellent grappling. Her first nickname was the Takedown. Miesha the Takedown Tate.
Really? Or Cupcake?
Before, yeah. She switched for some reason. Not our business. However, her technique is important. Her technique, that's what we're really talking right now. She is impeccable. Very, very clean, very dry, and very awesome doing each position, transitioning, especially when she's applying a pass guard, or it could be the sweep or defending. She's actually getting better at defending. And the way how she finished Holly Holm at UFC 196, that was an unforgettable moment. That was brilliant, the way how she put her slip. What a way to earn a championship belt.
Yeah. I mean, that reminded me of almost like Nagura back in the day. coming from behind, taking a bit of a beating there, and then at the end, just staying in the game and then getting that submission. And I remember being super excited. I was always a big Miesha Tate fan, even kind of going against Ronda Rousey a bit. I was always rooting for Miesha, and I even liked when she got on the armbar. I think the first time against Ronda. Defended it, as much as she could until she couldn't. But you could tell she's just a gamer and never going to give up. Kind of like we talked about Tony Ferguson earlier.
Absolutely. I wish her nothing but the best. And I know she's a mama now.
Yeah.
She just had another baby. And I'm glad she's taking it step by step. She want to do it like a test the grappling, but she's testing the grappling with nothing else. Something very, very, very big challenge ahead for her, Cyber is no joke on the ground either. She's also Brazilian. She's not Miesha Tate is from United States, but I'm talking the Brazilians. We're talking about Brazilians, how good they are on the ground, So I'm sure Cyber brings something to the table as well,
Exactly. Well, Juan, let's move on to the move of the week from Juan Nunez here. Cesar Gracie Black Belt going to break some moves down.
Well, right now you see my logo. That's athletic Muay Thai. But anyways, that's a move right there. Is a single leg with head outside. I'm pretty much utilizing my hips on his leg. I learned this move from Travis Lee, which is 2 times NCAA, 4 times All-American champion. He was teaching breaking down move all the time, and I'm glad I can get to practice world-class wrestling. I remember Daniel Cormier was champion at 205 at the time, a light heavyweight, and he became famous because he threw Alexander Gustafsson with this move. He threw Josh Barnett with this move, and I don't even want to talk about how good he did against Dan Henderson.
Yeah.
But man, I'm glad I got the knowledge and I can practice. I'm thankful, man. I remember every day the good practice and knowledge that we were picking up.
Well, great.
Go ahead.
Well, as a dirty white belt, I got some questions for you on this move here. You're slamming this poor guy, but I'm going to rewind it a bit. Can you just, talk about when you're shooting in right here, especially with driving the knee in between the legs, and is it you want to get as close as you can to his front foot with your knee on the inside?
You know what? Notice the chin is tucked before anything. The chin is tucked because we don't want to get it is a vulnerable position for a guillotine.
Okay.
However, we need to be quicker than anything, So we go with the penetration shot with a high crotch. You can either pull the tricep area and then come through, and then as soon as we shoot for the leg, we're gonna go and catch the leg. Like I put the hips in right on his thigh, and then with the head outside, we're gonna be in right on position. Trust me, we're not doing too much. We're just utilizing minimum strengths. It doesn't feel heavy because we're utilizing the hips and the grip on your wrists together to pick him up. Or if you still have doubts with the penetration, we can just check the shoulder touch first the abdominal area, and then the rest is coming together. Utilizing this technique only at the gym, only at the competition area. You have the mats. And you have that you're in a safe area to play this technique, Go ahead.
Yeah. One question I know, like I always get confused with, and I hear a lot of white belts always asking this question. I know sometimes in the higher levels, they say it's your preference, but can you talk about under his leg right here, when you're going for the single leg, how is your grip with your hands?
Well, I don't know if you can see it right now. It is connecting wrist and wrist. Grab your both wrists together, and then your hips close by his legs, and trust in the grip. And then you're utilizing just your lower back strength by putting your hips in. It's that simple, Jay. Trust me on that. It's that simple. You don't need to do like, oh wow, how strong is this guy? It's not about strength. It is excellent to lift weights. However, it is important to get to know the technique right, you know. So that's why I'm thankful, you know, taking the time to study martial arts.
Well, and then actually, I think right here, if the viewers pay attention, you can actually see the grip right here. So it looks like you're hanging onto your wrist possibly. So do you switch from hands to wrist right here?
The squat position and then pull up, you know, push up with your hips, you know, your core, you know, kettlebell exercises are great for this. You know, long stretch is always great. Bicycle, endurance. I'm an endurance athlete. I'm not too strong, but wrestling is a lot of technique. How to transition is each move. Just be careful with the guillotine. If you are right in there, you can pick him up and do the technique right. You know, especially at a advanced level. Could be brown or black.
Awesome. Well, and then let's give a shout out to yeah, it does look like you go maybe from hand to hand and switch over to your wrist possibly, unless I'm seeing something different.
The hands position doesn't even switch at all. It stays the same all the time. You pick him up and you move it to the side.
But you're on your wrist right here, correct?
That's right.
Okay. Awesome. Anything else you want to talk about this move? Or maybe give your buddy a shout out since you slammed him so much.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, it's one of my students. His name is Ryman Tawari. Is a green belt in judo. He works in the Central University of Venezuela, which is located right on the middle of the city. He's a coach right there for kids. Amazing. Thank you so much for coming on. You're more than welcome to step by the gym anytime you want. That's a small gym, but we have in the shopping center right by the east side of Caracas. So anyways, man, thank you, Jay, for the chance, man.
Great. And then let me switch over here real quick. Okay, so Juan, why don't you give for people in Venezuela? We hope you're listening. I think this would be great. This is directed towards everybody, but I think MMA in Venezuela is kind of talking about a podcast me and my buddy Nick Milan had called Water Tower Podcast. You came on as a guest and we got 100 views right away, and for us 50 views 60 views was pretty good. So to get 110 I think right off 24 hours showed that there is this desire for more MMA and jiu-jitsu and combat sports in Venezuela, and you're obviously down there making that happen, especially as a Cesar Gracie black belt, training with El Nino Training Center, Gilbert Melendez, and all these great fighters, Jake Shields, and then to go down there and share that knowledge. I mean, I don't know if people realize, like I've trained with you years ago, and if people really realize that, like how much knowledge they could get from you in Venezuela and Caracas. What's the address? How do they get in touch with you if they want to go train with you? What's the best way to do that?
Well, that's simple. You can reach out at BJJ Combative. There is a GM owner, which he always allows us to serious martial artists to stop by the gym and touch base with the right people and handle business. But you can reach out BJJ Combative and easy, just text and make it happen. Show it up and make it happen.
Sorry, Juan, bjjcombative.com or what is that?
Just at BJJ Combative, which means this dude Salvador, very small academy. He's a black belt on there. Fabio Gurgel, which is a Brazilian guy. He was champ in 1999, but he came through this country in 1999 to do a seminar, and he held a seminar with 17 black belts in karate.
Okay.
It was a surprise to bring up jiu-jitsu, but he tapped everybody out at the seminar. It was a nice way to do it, because this dude with the small academy, Salvador, he showed up with a blazer, with a regular dress in regular, and he showed up with the flyers, come through to my seminar. This is 1999, so everybody knew that. I thought that karate was the shit at the moment. But this dude Gurgel really handled business, which he's also the teacher of Marcelo Garcia.
Oh, okay.
And that now you and I know we're talking serious conversation right now, but jiu-jitsu,
Yeah, Marcelo Garcia. Yeah, that's no joke.
No joke.
Actually, one of kind of going back to Eddie Bravo, one of my favorite videos is when Eddie Bravo goes to New York, where Marcelo has his gym, and Eddie Bravo goes up there and they roll, and they release the full video. And to see Marcelo react, Eddie Bravo, sometimes people are like, oh, he's getting sweet, but sometimes he does that on purpose. But to see Marcelo, his grips, and I remember Eddie talking about that, like the grips are just so strong, like it's insane. Even his feet grip you.
Yeah, when I was competitor, which I believe it was from 2007 till 2015, serious competition in Jiu-Jitsu. I remember I was always listening and watching Marcelo techniques, how to break down a move. Even in watching just his highlight videos, make you realize how good he is. How effective the techniques is. Underrack, taking the back, low single, running the pipe, doing all kind of submissions. So he was something else, man. People don't give a shit about him anymore.
It's crazy. I think he's still relevant, but it's, back when I was training with you, I remember there was a one, I'm forgetting his name, but one big guy in class, and he would always just smash me. And I knew I had better technique than him. He was a wrestler. And then, but I couldn't do it. So I remember watching Marcelo Garcia's videos, which now it's John Donaher, Gavallo. Those videos are out. But before that, it was Marcelo. And I think it still is Marcelo. If you can find those videos, amazing, especially if you're
Right
a
on.
smaller guy going against a bigger guy. His videos on how to compete against bigger opponents was amazing for me. Just little details on how to go from the bottom to sweep, and just basic stuff that you wouldn't, you see it happen and go, oh, that's easy, but really without knowing those little details, it wouldn't happen. And I mean, I was a huge fan of Marcelo Garcia's breakdowns back years ago, back when I was just starting out.
Excellent role model, man. And I don't know, to be honest with you, I won a lot of tournaments by watching him and doing the move he did. Probably not against the same level competition, but still advanced experts. So that whatever was reachable for me to compete, advanced expert sounds to me like, hey, let's handle this. But I understand that Abu Dhabi, ADCC, you gotta be like a qualifying invitational things, So that's why I said different level. That's beyond expert or advanced.
Juan, who was the guy that really got you on arm drags? Was that just from your wrestling background, or who was the one to break down the technique of the arm drag for you? Because I remember you drilled that a lot, and I remember being the know-it-all white belt, like, ugh, like this drill again, like I'm never gonna arm drag no one. This ain't never gonna work in MMA. And then all of a sudden, it became like my bread and butter, and it started working all the time.
Yeah, Jake brought that in. Jake Shields brought that in, and however, Caio presented before. However, I didn't believe it too much until Jake brought it to Bayshore Gym. Said, let's try this. He had the benefits of traveling around the United States. Get to learn from different guys, including Marcelo Garcia. He went to New York a few times just to take privates with him, So he bring the techniques to us, and we thank you forever, man. And we're gonna do tournaments and win first place. That was it, man.
Yeah, I love the arm drag now, and like most wrestlers always do them. And even going on to our next subject, which is Conor McGregor versus Poirier, number 2. I like to watch, this is so stupid, but I like to watch the Conor McGregor video where he's about to compete against Chad Mendez, and he's in the back going to the restroom and runs into Uriah Faber, and they have a little bit hand combat. I don't know if you saw that, and it was Uriah Faber locked in that arm drag quick, but then McGregor kind of did it too. And I will watch that video and rewind it in slow-mo and just see their, like, because it's natural, they're not competing, it's just like it just becomes your handshake almost.
So yeah, it was a lot of tension during the tough recording time because TJ Dillashaw was dealing with the drama of the biggest snake in the grass that he always has been. He was a traitor according to McGregor. He was pointing it out the entire time, and then he pointed out, "I build you, Uriah build you up, and then you move out with what's his name, the multi guy, Ludwig."
Yeah, Dwayne. Yeah, Ludwig.
Yeah, they moved people around and said, well, and now I'm going to compete against your team. So it was a little bit too much. So that's why I stay away from their personal issues. and I choose to watch only the results. Maybe do a recap of whatever is happening.
Yeah, and I think Conor was cutting weight at that time. He looked pretty drained, so he's probably pretty grumpy. But well, what do you think about the fight coming up with Conor McGregor and Poirier?
Well, I gotta be honest with you, man. I truly like Conor McGregor, the way how he evolved with the game, the way how he talks nowadays. If you watch his last couple interviews, he just talk about lifestyle, motivation, fight business. He's on top of this shit, man, and he don't give a fuck about anything, and he's more clear than ever. You can see how well was the post conference or press conference between a Cowboy, and the difference that he had with different adversaries. It was just straight business, so he didn't even trip too much about it. So he's gonna face a different Dustin Poirier. That's what I want to see, because I want to see Conor McGregor training good, making sure he can box and he can be ready to take some punches and mix and be able to capitalize. Dustin, on the other hand, he cannot be too aggressive, especially at the beginning, or he shouldn't be, man. I don't know, man. I don't want to predict a winner, but I would like to see Conor McGregor win in a fight, if anything, because he's doing something good for the sport, no matter what. And you and I know the good always shine through.
Yeah, I think Conor McGregor makes you root for him. He has that Mayweather capability. I personally, and I think a lot of people don't like to admit it, they hated on him when he first came in. I hated on him every fight. I was rooting against this cocky new guy. And he makes you root for him because you're like, wow, this dude's doing stuff not a lot of people are doing, and he's making the sport exciting, and he's blowing the sport up, and he's making the level, like even talked about, he's bringing all the level of competition up across the board. I think it's going to go down a similar way, to be honest. I think it might go to a decision, but I think probably the knockout for McGregor is going to happen again if I had to guess. Nothing is Poirier. I think he's amazing. I just think the level's too different. And I do think Poirier, and the first fight, I rewatched it this morning as well, he smirked right when they were doing the face-off before the fight, kind of smirked at him, and it didn't seem like he was taking him too serious. And I think that's you could tell right off the bat, Conor threw some kicks, a spinning back head kick, and then hit one in the stomach as well. And you see Poirier go, okay, here we go. This is the real deal. And Poirier is much bigger than Conor McGregor, but at least height-wise. But I think Conor McGregor is just too fluid. I think Poirier's improved a lot, and his stand-up's amazing, but something about his hooks and stuff just seem a little slow to me. I'm a nobody, but it seems like when Conor McGregor just has that fluid ability to find that spot, and once he connects, and it's over.
I wouldn't be surprised of the outcome of the fight. I mean, anything could happen. Dustin, you and I know, is tough, crafty veteran that he's been around as well. He beat Justin Gaethje. He beat Eddie Alvarez. Not only beat them, they finished them. So I'm not counting him out, and I'm sure Conor is taking him seriously. So, but if you put a gun in my head, I would choose Conor just because I like him. I know he's doing good things for the sport, like I said before, and he's more martial artist than Dustin. Dustin is just a legit athlete and legit MMA fighter, but I never see him like a martial arts talking through the code, especially if you watch closely the brawl between Khabib Nurmagomedov people and Conor McGregor. Conor was like a chilling. He was where he's supposed to be. He lost the fight, but he was right there, and then he was attacked from a Chechenian dude with the black hair, long hair. He was coming to the side, and then McGregor saw him, and he connected the left hook. And then he was hit in the back a little bit, but he got out the way quick. And then the brother was running in with the fake air, and then McGregor cracked him with the left straight punch in the face, and he threw the last punch of the night. And
dropped him, right? I think he dropped him.
He talked about it, and he said how aware he was of his surrender. Go ahead.
Yeah, well. Anything else you want to talk about, Juan? We're hitting about an hour. Any other topics you want to cover in the MMA world? or anything about Venezuela you want to talk about, or your training or your partners or whatever's going on with you?
Well, I want to invite people to stay tuned. We're going to do this. It's the very first time. We just want to have a very good first impression in everything we do. And yeah, we're going to talk about it in the next chapter. We're going to go through some MMA project that we got going on, training different people, like how well we're using the Cesar Gracie techniques on top, just handle business and, go through the commission, different one. We're handling just athletic commission under any. Yeah, we're gonna stay tuned. You and I talk, and next week we're gonna do a different takedown. So right now we just have DC, Daniel Cormier, Travis Lee, NCAA four-time All-American. It was like a little boom at the time. Like 5 years ago. Cormier champion light heavyweight, so he was doing the single leg slam. So what the hell? No one ever did that before. Yeah, it's sad to see an athlete like Cormier gassing out. It's sad to see because he was a world-class Olympic athlete. Yeah, can you imagine a guy like Cormier just holding the pace, the first round pace that he had against Stipe for 5 minutes against anybody, just coming forward with the wrestling attacks? Nothing to take away from him. I mean, he's a 41-year-old guy, older than me, and he already went to 2 Olympics, and he's third in the world right now. So I'm not talking bad about him, all the opposite. I like his techniques a lot, but I would like to, sometime in the future, where I'm sure we're going to see someone to take the, to bring it up, to do it again, but differently, not even better or worse, just differently. However, utilizing the wrestling base that Cormier brings to the table. Now he's doing business, distracting, working with Russia, Dagestan, Russia, wrestling, which is different. So he's doing whatever is best for him, and I guess he's doing commentating and just breaking down whatever is happening. He's not his business, whatever corner or whatever they want to work, but yeah, I never see Chandler fight before, but I'm sure he's a wrestling pedigree background.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping because I'm not a fan of wrestling. I truly study the art and practice the art. I do techniques, and I like to utilize the terminology that I was working on it with the rank that I possess in the Jiu-Jitsu field. But yeah, it's fun to watch, and it's fun to talk about it, and we're going to go through in the next chapter, and we're probably going to have a different guests. We're going to talk it out in the week, and we're going to make it happen, bro. Thank you, man. Merry Christmas, man.
I'm excited. And just to touch on the heavyweight wrestling division, you're talking about DC and you're waiting for the next guy. I remember watching a guy years ago in one of his debuts and going, this wrestling in the heavyweight division and the speed that's faster than most heavyweights move. It was young Cain Velasquez, who then became champ, and also obviously trains with DC. I got that vibe a little bit with Curtis Blades. I think Curtis Blades is going to be the top notch if he could pull it together, but his wrestling is great. I don't know how it compares to DC's Olympic wrestling, but I like to see where he's at. He recently, I think, pulled out a fight with Derek Lewis due to COVID, but I'm excited to see Curtis Blades in the future. And Michael Chandler, if you haven't seen Michael Chandler's fights, Juan, you got to go back and watch them. Just take 1 or 2 fights. I've seen probably 3, and I've been like, whoa, how did I miss this guy? But I'm excited to see him in the UFC. And but again, UFC is UFC, and we've seen it with Eddie Alvarez, we've seen it with other fighters. It's another level, but I think Michael Chandler is gonna fucking do it, man. I really do. But all right, Juan, that's a wrap for episode 1 Under the Radar MMA, coming from Lindsay, California, and Caracas, Venezuela. Again, this is a Cesar Gracie black belt, Juan Nunez, and I'm Jay Yoder, and I'd like to say we're out.